Hello again, my name is Ben. Here I am today with another mock showcase, and here with me this time is a custom Lego mech that I call the Iron Samurai. Here I am once again. I hope you all had wonderful holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Hope you had a good time spending with your family and those you love. And I hope you were able to hopefully get some nice presents that you're happy to have. I know I did, and for with some of them I used to build this guy over here. Now, this is a model I used, like, I'd say 99% from the parts from a couple of, like, still of sets. The Iron Man figure, uh, get this over here, the Arishem Shadow, and then I used two of these Iron Man mech sets. So, a lot of pieces went into this. Obviously, not all of them. Oops, camera. But a majority of them went into this pretty large creation here, and I'm pretty happy how it turned out, since I'm making a video on it. Now, as usual, size comparison with a minifigure. I believe this is probably one of the largest mechs I've created for this channel. There might be one or two that are taller than it, but I believe this one is probably the tallest. That with all that out of the way, let's start off with the construction, starting off with the feet. Now, I used the little, like, disc pieces with the kind of, like, glossy finish in them to give him the impression that he's sort of hovering. It sort of helps with stability, but they can be removed fairly simply. They're only attached on a couple of jumper plates. Just take them off, you'll see those. Unfortunately, for some reason, they stuck on to this side. And you'll just see sort of the grooves or the empty anti-studs at the bottom of the feet there. You can't stand without them, but I will admit his feet are sort of small, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to stand, but he can. So there's that. As far as the feet go, you see a little bit of articulation, a bit of a pivot there at the ankle. Not much forward movement because of how the joint is constructed using these the ball and socket joints, but these ones that have the little Technic pin that need to be inserted to put a ball joint in. But you'll see the construction of them pretty simple here. Just a lot of plates using like studs on the side techniques and tiles, getting just some of these smaller angles here. Some of that champagne gold, which was found in the Iron Man figure set that I sprinkled around the MOC just because I think it looks really nice. And just some plates with the studs on top, just for the sides here to give it more smoothness. You can see where the lower leg is attached. You see it's this fairly large construction here, with a lot of different curves and edges here to give it sort of a sleek and angular design. Let's just see some more plates and stuff on the sides here, more of that champagne gold. A lot of Nexonite shields in dark red because they were present in both the Arishem Shadow and the Iron Man figure, so they're sprinkled all throughout the mech. See mirrored on both sides, obviously. See just more plates and build up there. With there's a lot of bricks and studs on the side. For the upper legs, they're a little obstructed by his, cape or waistcoat, whatever they're called. The armor coating. But you'll see more of the same. Studs on the side techniques, just more plates, Nexonite shields, more of that champagne gold. Curves, some of the tiles. Some pieces on the back here. Obviously, these are the slope pieces, and as you can expect, I used these pieces. If I can get this off. Some of these plates here, so you can just get an idea of how that's constructed. Put that back on. Looks like some of these fell off. I must admit, not my most stable design, all things considered. My apologies. Just get some idea of how it's constructed. Now then, moving on to the waist here, obviously the aforementioned waistcoat. You see just a lot of wing pieces here to get sort of the sharp angular shapes of it. Nexonite shields. This part here was mostly taken from the Arishem Shadows. They were used for his shoulder plates, but I moved them down to the waist because I think the shaping and like the parts used make for a really nice waist cape thingy. So I did make some additions on the sides. Obviously, the attachment point was changed from a Nexonite or from a shield to one of these hinges. but you can get a good look at that from all around. I didn't really mention much of the back of the legs either, but you'll see some of these inverted circular discs with that blue, sort of like the arc reactors flowing through the body, and then there's just the waist, back of the waist. Not much to say there. The main torso, I can just move the camera down. Just a lot of different bricks and plates keeping it together. You'll see some of these larger bricks with the angles on them. More Nexonite shields, giving it more texture. More of slopes in that champagne gold. Some dark gray here, representing some of the more mechanical detailing of the MOC, or Mech. You'll see more of the angles here. Using hinges, this part is able to angle downward, which is also where the figure is seated. You'll see the arc reactor, which I don't have a good grip, but it can be lifted up to reveal the figure. See a little Iron Man in there. And then, as you probably can see here, just more of the construction. Moving up the head here, this part can flip up using some hinges. You'll see how that's mostly constructed there. The hinges there. And all it's held together with that. And you'll see the Iron Man. This is the one from the Mech, because it just made sense. So, then he just fits in there. There isn't really a foolproof way of like reattaching him. I usually just take off this part here and sort of just slide him in so he fits onto those two studs. And then just reassembly. So, there's that. I think it came out pretty well. As for the back of the torso, not too much to say. I used the shoulder pads from the Iron Man figure as sort of just more back plating, which I used at this angle, which I think gives it a nice like design, nice curvature, I'd say. And then just using some inverted plates here for more smoothing it out. Or here, the stickers are from the Iron Man Mech set, the smaller one. Just some slopes here, just giving it more angles and smoothing it out the back. It's a little too smooth for my liking, but I just couldn't think of anything else. As for the arms, you'll see they're just basically attached from some pretty basic 2x2 bricks of the ball joints. And there's the newer socket joint design. The construction for the arms, pretty basic here. You'll just see two joints held together with some of these bricks with the studs on the sides, and then just built up with some plates and tiles. But on this one, I decided to build it up with some of these plates, and then using some of these clips attached on a shield. This is a similar technique they used in the In-Air from Shadow set for the shoulder pads. So I basically just took that and then redid it here with some different pieces. You'll just see just some plates, and then this printed Nexonite shield, which is from the Iron Man Mech, and then just more plates all around it, just for the shoulder pad. It's not the best look, but at this point at the Mech, I was kind of running out of pieces, so I kind of just made do with what I had. And a no better example would be in the forearm here. The technique here is pretty similar to the one also used in the In-Air from Shadow. Just using some pieces here, some champagne gold on the sides, this large plate curving piece here, and then a gold ingot piece. And this is the normal pearl gold, not the champagne. So not much to really say to the forearm. Probably the worst part of it, but I was experimenting with some other techniques and I couldn't really figure out a design that really stuck with me. As for the hand, this one is pretty basic. Doesn't really take too much inspiration from any particular set, but it does just have pretty basic mech construction. You'll see they use some of the smaller tire pieces with this thumb part here, using some pretty basic Exoforce fingers in dark red. The rest of them attached on this piece here. You can see the little circular inverted disc piece for the arc reactor. And then the top of the hand has some clips here and just a red 1x2 tile. And then using these, I think these are meant to be shield pieces on the Iron Man Mech figure, I converted into daggers or wrist blades for the Mech, which I think turned out okay. I prefer to give him a more sword-like weapon, but unfortunately with the parts that are in any of the sets, there isn't really a good method of doing so. Get it to focus. But yeah, that is really the only main armament of the Mech, apart from the arc reactor repulsors. Let me just attach this here. And then for the last part of the Mech, the head, which I completely destroyed trying to remove from the body. My apologies. You'll see just some of the techniques here I used to build it. This is basically a template that I used for my G3 Alpha Human Enhancement suit, but I kind of just modified a bit to give it a more samurai aesthetic. See the visor here, using this 1x2 brick with the translucent blue for like the kind of eyes or visor. Using some of these curved macaroni tiles for the sort of headdress of the samurai, and these sort of clips with these curved pieces here for the sort of like helmet of the samurai. And he's kind of got a bit of a mask going on with the hinges with the tile. Back here, not much to say there. Just kind of filling out some of the gaps with these Exoforce fingers. And then you just see how it kind of all attaches there. Designing custom heads for mechs is probably the hardest thing for me to do, apart from making good mechs. So I'm not 100% fond of the design, but I think it came out okay. And I think it gets the look across of this being sort of a samurai, or like mecha samurai. But with all that being said, that kind of just wraps it up for the MOC. Sorry it took a while. Trying to figure out all the portions of the mech were really difficult. Trying to work with the limited pieces that I had. Well, not limited, but like the constraints for some of the techniques that I used were a little hard for me personally. Obviously, if you have recommendations for improvements, I would like to hear them if you made it this far into the video. Obviously, some parts of it I'm not proud of. The forearms, the head is kind of so-so. I kind of like it, but other times I kind of don't. But I think overall, like, I think it is greater than the sum of its parts. So when you take it all in, I think it just really has a nice imposing figure and just looks really nice. I think I got the samurai aesthetic decent. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you're looking forward to the new year. Hope you have a great day. With all that being said, goodbye.